My son Caden was super excited because he got all A's, and I promised to buy him a red staff. When I saw how expensive it was, I thought of my dad. When I was a kid, he would always make my toys with his own 2 hands. So I went to the store, bought some supplies, and started making Caden's staff. First, I needed to spray paint it, but I accidentally got paint in my eye. I didn't want to go blind, so I rushed inside to rinse it out, but accidentally used hot sauce instead of soap. I screamed and sprayed my face with water. Once I could see again, I finished painting the staff. When I showed it to Caden, he was upset. I had grabbed the wrong color spray paint because my eyes were still messed up. Do you think I should just buy him the staff he wanted now? So I was just munching on my syrup and popcorn snack when there's this loud banging on my door. I open it and there's this dude standing there and he looks exactly like me. It was like looking in a mirror. He tells me he's an escaped prisoner and he was framed for identity theft. He begs me to hide him, and even though his story is straight out of a crazy movie, I actually start feeling bad for him. So I hid him in my garage while we cook up a plan to help him escape the country. But this guy's way sneakier than I thought. While I'm busy helping him, he's busy swapping our identities. I didn't even realize it until the cops showed up at my house looking for me. By then, the dude had vanished using my name and my life to start all over somewhere else, and I'm stuck with his mess trying to explain I'm not the bad guy. Comment if you think the police will actually believe me or not. So I traveled back to New Jersey to visit my family for Thanksgiving, but my parents said I couldn't come in without a dish. So I decided to run to the store to buy a pie. But on the way there, I ran into Brayton, my childhood bully.
Big Head Desmond, is that you?
Part of me wanted to run away, but I didn't want Brayton to know that I was still afraid of him.
Oh, so you think you tough now? Let's find out how tough you really are.
He brought me to a light pole and told me to see how long I could hold my hand on it. I didn't want him to know that I was still a wimp, so I had no choice but to do it. The pole was really cold since it was freezing outside, and after 2 minutes, I gave up. But I couldn't remove my hand because it was frozen to the pole. Brayton laughed and said,
"Good luck."
I called my parents so they could help me, and they asked me if I bought something for Thanksgiving yet. I told them no, and they hung up on me. Comment below what you think I should do next. So I was just getting ready to watch the solar eclipse when my eclipse glasses accidentally flew into the pool. I panicked and realized I had no other way to safely view the eclipse. So I quickly searched online for a way to fix the glasses. And someone said I can dry them off by laying it out in the sun. But then the glasses caught on fire. So I had no choice but to pour water on them again. The eclipse was about to get started and I was running out of time. So I tried to shake the water off the glasses, but then they ripped apart. So I grabbed some glue to mend it back together, but then I got glue on the lenses. I sat on the side of the street devastated that I was about to miss the eclipse. But then I realized I had a whole pack of eclipse glasses. So I ran back in the house and searched everywhere for them. But when I found them, they were stuck together. I finally managed to get one loose, but by that time, the eclipse was over. Like this video if you've seen the eclipse today. I wanted to prove her wrong. So I convinced Destiny to take a self-care day since she had been taking care of Kaylani nonstop. She didn't think I could handle it, but I told her it would be a piece of cake. At first, everything was going smoothly. I fed her and burped her, but then she spit it up all over my new hoodie. I tried to clean it up, but Kaylani wouldn't stop crying. I tried everything I could think of to soothe her, but nothing seemed to work. I thought about calling Destiny for help, but I didn't want her to think I couldn't handle it. Then I remembered that Kaylani needed medicine for her stomach, so I gave it to her, hoping it would help. Unfortunately, it didn't. Feeling defeated, I went to my studio to respond to some emails. As I was typing away, I noticed that Kaylani had stopped crying. I looked at her and saw that she was staring at the black and white panels on the wall. Of course, babies love black and white objects, so I moved her closer to the panels. She was mesmerized by them, and I finally had a moment of peace. Just as I was starting to feel like I had everything under control, Destiny walked in and asked how it was going. I smiled and said, "It's a piece of cake." So I was munching on my son's Takis when suddenly I had to go to the bathroom, like really badly. I ran to the bathroom, but realized there was no toilet paper. I dashed to the laundry room where we keep extra rolls, but the shelf was empty. I started putting on my shoes to go to the store, but then I got a flood warning on my phone. It had been raining in Miami for 2 days, and all the roads were flooded. I couldn't drive, so I decided to take my scooter, but the sidewalks were too wet. I had no choice but to leave my scooter and run. The rain was getting in my eyes, making it hard to see, and I ended up falling into a puddle. But I didn't give up. I remembered I had goggles in my pocket, so I put them on and finally made it to the store, but they wouldn't let me in because I was soaked. Comment below if you've ever had a time when you really needed to go to the bathroom. I woke up with a huge craving for my favorite snack, popcorn sprinkled with cinnamon sugar. I could almost smell the sweet cinnamon in the air as I ran to the kitchen. I grabbed the popcorn bag and put it in the microwave. Next, I reached for my trusty cinnamon shaker on the spice rack, but in my excitement, I didn't look carefully enough. I shook a big pile of powder over the popcorn, swirling it around eagerly, imagining the sweet taste. Finally, Finally, I took a big crunchy bite, and immediately my eyes widened. It was not sweet at all. Instead, my mouth burned and my throat tickled, making me cough and gasp for water. I stopped eating and looked closely at the shaker label. To my surprise, it wasn't cinnamon at all. It was chili powder. Dripping in surprise, I grabbed a glass of water to cool down the spicy mess in my mouth. As I started over with a new bag of popcorn, this time double checking the spice, I noticed Caden laughing at me from the stairs. Then he said, "God's love helps us learn even when we mess up." I grinned back, feeling thankful that God's grace never runs out. It's okay to make mistakes because he helps us grow stronger every day. I've been really into scary movies lately and wanted to know if any were real. So I looked in the mirror and said Beetlejuice 3 times to see if he'd show up, but nothing happened. I got annoyed and decided to leave my condo and then accidentally stubbed my toe. I limped all the way to the elevator and got stuck inside for 14 hours with no food. Right when I was about to pass out, the doors finally opened. I rushed out as fast as I could and went to my Tesla to grab some food, but it started driving in circles by itself. That's when I knew for sure that Beetlejuice was haunting me. So I ran back to my condo faster than you can click the subscribe button and yelled Beetlejuice 3 times. Suddenly, a ghost appeared. I was scared out of my mind until I took a closer look. Something was a little off about that ghost, so I pulled off the sheet and it was Brayton, my old school bully. Should I get back at him? Let me know what you think. You won't believe what I saw soaring through the sky. So one morning, I climbed up to my hangout spot to clear my head. And while I was gazing at the sky, I saw something really strange. At first, I thought it was a plane or maybe even a drone, but it was too far to tell. So I decided to go on BestBuy.com and buy a telescope. The only Best Buy that had a telescope in stock was 3 hours away. So I hopped in the car, drove all the way there, and picked up the telescope. I put it together on my roof, and you wouldn't believe what I saw. It was my dog Snoop flying in the air. I couldn't believe it. I knew Snoop was special, but not this special. Now I know why he barks to go outside every day. So I'm totally freaking out right now because my parents' dryer shrunk my jeans. All my other jeans were in the wash, and I couldn't show up like this for breakfast with my hometown friends. First, I tried to stretch them out by closing one end in the trunk of my car and pulling, but that didn't work. Then I had my son hold one end while I held the other, and we tried a tug of war to stretch them, but that didn't help either. I decided to put the pants back on and do some workouts, thinking maybe that would help, but no luck. So I went into my car to have a crash out session. Then I remembered I could just ask ChatGPT what to do. I pulled out my phone and asked for advice. While it was giving me solutions, my phone died because I forgot to charge it last night. I ran back in the house to charge my phone, and ChatGPT told me exactly how to unshrink my jeans. But when I went to grab my jeans, they were gone. I searched my parents' house for them, and suddenly Destiny came out wearing them. She said she loved them and thanked me for buying her new jeans. Should I tell her they're mine or let her have them? Let me know in the comments. This morning, I went to the kitchen to make my favorite pork and waffle breakfast sandwich, but I realized I was out of waffles. I tried to order some using DoorDash, but my order got canceled. Thinking it was a DoorDash problem, I tried Uber Eats next, but that order was canceled too. Frustrated, I decided to drive to the store myself. On the way, I heard on the radio that someone had hacked all the computers in the country, making it impossible for anyone to buy anything from any store. I couldn't start my day without my breakfast sandwich, so I decided to try and fix all the computers in the country. I coded a special software and installed an antenna on top of my house to send out an update that would fix every computer. Luckily, my software worked and I was able to order my waffles. But just when my waffles were delivered, the police showed up at my house. They thought I was the one who caused the cyber attack. Please subscribe to help me not go to jail. I taught my son a lesson. So our son Caden had been slacking off on his responsibilities lately. He has a weekly chores chart that he hasn't been following at all. Destiny told me it was time to teach him a lesson, but I had a different plan in mind. I went to his room, slammed the door shut, and gave him a piece of my mind.
Caden, we need to talk. You haven't been keeping up with your chores around here, and it's time we do something about it.
Caden was in the back seat waiting to hear his punishment. But instead of giving him a punishment, I did something a little different. I took him to get ice cream. Caden was so confused, he thought it was a trick. I told him it wasn't and took the opportunity to teach him how to balance fun with responsibilities. When we got home, Destiny was standing there, so I pretended like I was being hard on Caden the whole time. But it was alright because Caden knew I was faking. Subscribe if you think Destiny's gonna find out. So when I got out of bed this morning, my bed felt way higher than usual. I went to get a shirt from my closet, and it was a bit bigger than normal. When I tried to grab my coffee mug, I couldn't reach it. I thought I had shrunk, so I ran to the bathroom to check and saw my son Caden in the mirror. We must have switched bodies, and I wanted to find out how. I searched the house for Caden and found him doing push-ups. I asked him how we switched bodies, and he said he did a little experiment while I was sleeping because he wanted to know what it felt like to be in charge. I told him to switch us back, but he said no and told me to go to my room. Even though Caden was now bigger than me, I knew I could still outsmart him. So I made a potion, put it in a prime bottle, and tricked him into drinking it. I took a sip too, and we both fainted. When I woke up, I realized it was just a bad dream. Comment below about a nightmare you had.